So, today was an interesting day. I made banana cream pie, which was extremely fun. And then, on top of that, I had an interesting discussion. I don't think anybody actually knows how to properly research someone. I mean, if you're gonna be a troll, right? You should do some research on your subject that you're trolling, just so that you don't look silly. I make it a point to look into people that I'm interacting with, just so I don't look silly. That being said, today there's this discussion on morality and whether a person could truly have morality without knowledge of the Bible. Now, I know that there are certain children in this world that grow up with atheist parents, but their parents know right from wrong, right? And their parents knew right from wrong, and so on and so forth, generation. Now, when we go right back to the root of where people get their morality from, it's usually social constructs based off of civil laws and civil duty. Now, we can debate all day long where that comes from, but the underlying point is it comes from the Bible. If you look into the history of how the founding fathers wrote laws for this fledgling nation, you will see that it not only influenced the laws that were made then, it still influences the judicial system today. And I have these beautiful links that I will be doing a whole blog post about, and the links will be in that blog post. And just so you know, there were tons of studies done between 1940 and 2017. Psychologists have been studying it for many decades, whether morality comes from nurture or nature. One of the things that I was studying when I was in college was early childhood psychology and youth psychology, mostly because I would be working with youth and or young adults or adults, depending on the situation, as an addictions counselor, or if I went into social services, I would be a social worker, and so I had to know that same knowledge so I could determine risk factors. So, just to make a long story short, I did certain term papers on certain topics. One was nurture versus nature. One was addiction is a disease or choice. And the other one was I did one on psychosocial behaviors. I think my favorite one was the psychosocial one, because usually you're when you do a paper you have to choose one subject, but I chose two and kind of combined them. Anyway, so the whole point was, is morality innate or is it learned? And there have been studies done since 1940 all the way up to 2017, and neo-Darwinian theory was that yes, it's innate, but evidence over the past couple of decades has proven otherwise. So they have come to the conclusion that it is actually taught through experiences and observation. And I know of a few studies where when there wasn't so many, like, you know, human rights involved and whatnot, they did some scary experiments on people with LSD and even children. And so they conducted these experiments, and they found that people who don't have an underlying right or wrong, or were taught right or wrong, will always choose to do the wrong thing, because it's by our nature. We're just that way. We're greedy, we're selfish, we're self-preservate. We want to protect ourselves. So obviously we have self-preservation. So in any situation, we're always going to choose to be violent and or selfish to save our own skin. So there is no real morality unless it's taught and ingrained and experienced. And morality comes from empathy and compassion, I believe. So the underlying thing is, you can either choose to ignore the fact that we only know this because of the Bible and God. You can choose to ignore it and deny it, which makes you foolish and delusional. Or you can choose to accept it and or also at the same time not believe in God. You cannot believe in God but understand that morality comes from God. Because without God's law and word, we wouldn't know it. And that's just a fact. And even in these psychosocial papers that I've read on behavior and morality and nature versus nurture and so on and so forth, it even acknowledges that religion ties into this and is a huge part of where children learn right from wrong and morality, where they experience it the most, is with a strong religious background, either the parents or some form of family member knowing of such, and they're exposed to it, right? That's an experience. So no matter how you put it, there is no way around it. Our laws are influenced by the Bible. Our morals and values are influenced by the Bible. Our whole entire existence is literally from God. But I know that you guys just want to argue and tell me I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. Science has proven this and science has proven that. Well, no, because science can't be absolute. There is no absolutes in science. There is no, what is it called? What's that word I'm looking for? I'm very tired, so I'm trying to figure this out in my head. There is no damn it, baby, what am I trying to say? Baby? He disappeared on me. I need his help. My brain's not working that well. Aha, I remembered. There is no such thing as the science is settled, because science in itself is an exploration, an ever-evolving progress. There is no settlement. There is no definites. There is no absolutes. There is no end of story. We don't need to look for anymore. That is not the way science works. And when you do that to science, then it's a religion, because you're believing something. You have to put belief in that something for it to be absolute, because it's not. So I think that there is so much evidence to the contrary of this whole entire structured, scripted, censored, put together world of ours, that it calls into question everything, including the science is settled, because it's not. Morality comes from the Bible. There is no understanding without God. There is no morality without God. And it's a humbling thought. And I know it's very uncomfortable for most people to acknowledge that they might not be a good person had they not grew up in a country based off of God's law. I know it's very uncomfortable, but your government built laws based off of the Bible. It's literally ingrained in the fabric of our society. It's literally ingrained in the fabric of our laws and policies and legislations. While a lot of them have been changing and going against the Bible, I will give you that. Like abortion is quite against God. The bottom line is we get murders wrong, stealing's wrong, assaulting people's wrong, coveting people's property is wrong, destroy people's property is wrong, cheating on your husband used to be wrong, and cheating on your wife used to be a crime. Child abuse is wrong. Rape is wrong. And so many other things that you could find literally in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. You could literally go look them up. Most of our laws are in the Bible. And then you say, oh, but it's outdated and we don't need the Bible. Well, until every single one of those crimes that are in Deuteronomy and Leviticus are literally done away with in our society, yeah, we're gonna need them laws. See, laws aren't written for the righteous, it's written for the unruly and ungodly, the unrighteous. The Bible even says so. Those who follow God's commandments and God's laws won't have a need for such laws because they already have the heart and mind of God. So they wouldn't need to be structured and policed, basically. Yet our society has these laws. Our society has policies, laws, bylaws, and all these other rules. And why do they have them if we don't need them? Because we're not barbaric anymore. I mean, we're civilized, aren't we? Well, why do we need them then? Why do we need police to enforce them then? Because you're not born moral. You're not born with a compass to know right from wrong. You are taught that. And at some point you choose to either be a good person and do the right thing or be a bad person and do the wrong thing. And that is why there's laws and rules. So God, in all his infinite wisdom, wrote Deuteronomy. In God's infinite wisdom, he gave us Deuteronomy and Leviticus so that we would know which people needed these guidelines, these rules, and these laws. Sorry, but you're wrong. Just get over it. You don't have to be right all the time. And when it comes to the Bible and you telling a Christian something that you haven't even studied or even looked up or researched, I mean, you're wrong. Just don't even try. If you don't know what you're talking about, just don't talk about it. If you think you know, you probably don't. So go research it and don't talk about it. Because then this happens. then this happens. And someone who knows because of studies and because of experience and because of knowledge and Holy Spirit just, you could have avoided it. Just not engaged. Should have just not. But then again, thank you, because now I have a topic. I didn't have a topic for days. I didn't know what to talk about. I didn't know what to write about for days. And then all of a sudden this came up. So thank you. It actually gave me a blog post and a vlog post and a podcast post eventually. So thanks. You also ignited a passion I thought I lost. I really like the human brain. And it was a couple of years since I've read my term papers that got me some really good grades. I could have passed my exam and gotten my license, but I got pregnant, so still doesn't change the fact that I'm quite brilliant still. Thank you. I had to touch up on some of my learning this morning. But I remembered exactly where I saw what I did my papers on. So I just went straight there on Google. And thankfully, they're still around. I thought that they would have upgraded them, censored them, or something. I don't know. I have no idea what I thought. But they're still up there. So that was good news. I don't have my psychology book anymore. I lost that quite a while ago. It's such a big book, my psychology book, and we had to borrow the DSM, so it wasn't like we had our own DSM. We had to borrow it. So yeah. And I heard that they just recently upgraded some of the terms in the DSM. I believe it was DSM 2. Yeah. I'll have to look it up because it was about, they don't use the term ADHD anymore. They use only, I believe it was I'll have to go look it up. But I heard it was like a couple of years ago that they changed it back from ADHD to ADD only. And then they also added sensory processing disorder to the spectrum of autism, which was really interesting. But I'll have to touch up on my knowledge of that. I'm pretty sure that they're constantly upgrading the DSM, so they get new terms all the time for things. I know bipolar has quite a few more symptoms added to the list, so anyways, this was fun. I'm actually going to go really quick and just check on that DSM thing because I'm pretty sure it was just upgraded a couple of DSM 5. Oy. It's been forever. Yes, DSM 5 has been upgraded, and they've also kept the original diagnoses in there, but then show you the difference between them. At least on the one that I just looked up, that's the case. And I mean, DSM 5 is huge anyway. If you ever did get to see the DSM 5, it's quite a large book. It's not like a small book. It's like bigger than my Strong's Concordance. So yeah. But guys, I thought this was an interesting talk. I'll post some of this stuff that I'm talking about into into the description box. I'll put those links to the websites I found for those interested in looking up what I looked up and reading what I read. And yeah, I just thought it was really interesting that this topic comes up and then I get to talk about it. It's something I really like talking about anyway. So I like talking about the Bible and I like talking about psychology. So, oh, I will also link in there a link to a psychology paper, a study done on religious families versus non-religious families, and the difference between the family dynamic and behaviors and the outcome of the children in those kinds of families. I know I did a little bit of it before when I was writing my feminist when I did the blog about feminism and how it destroys the family. I know I did a little bit of it in there, psychology papers and whatnot that I had found based off of the difference between a religious family and a non-religious family, but I want to do one based off of morality and crime rates and rate of abuse in those kinds of families, just to show you the difference, because I think you guys forgot that there's a difference. And yeah, I just want to do that too. So I'll link those in the description box. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll catch you back here tomorrow because tomorrow's Tuesday, and I'll have a brand new blog up, and it's going to be about this. Thank you again for giving me a subject. Oh, this is going to take me quite a while. I love this kind of subject. This is going to be fun. This is going to be absolutely fun, guys. You have no idea. It's like this is my area. There I go, just going off in my head now. I'm tired. Okay, I'm gonna go link everything in the description box, and love you guys. I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow, and yeah, thank you. Good night.